Good afternoon, fourth graders. Today's social studies lesson is a review on Chapter 3, Lesson 6, Michigan and the Birth of the United States. Please make sure that you may have a pencil and a notebook to take notes. Remember, good readers read at least twice and then go and answer your questions. Let's begin. Chapter 3, Lesson 6, Michigan and the Birth of the United States. By the late 1700s, the British colonies in America wanted to be free. They did not like the British king telling them what to do. They did not like being told that they could not move west and settle. The people wanted to be Americans, not British. The colonies began a revolution. A revolution is another name for war. Notice it is in dark black, bold printing. In the spring of 1775, to start their own country. This was called the Revolutionary War or the War for Independence, and you'll learn about that more in 5th grade. The British caused trouble. Michigan was far from the colonies, but British soldiers were here. Kentucky, which is to the south of us, was the closest place with very many American settlers. British soldiers from Detroit attacked the Americans in Kentucky. The British urged Indians to go to Kentucky and attack settlers too. The Indian attacks in Kentucky were very bad in 1777. The settlers called that time the Year of the Bloody Sevens because it was 1777. There's 3 sevens in there. Many settlers were killed. Some were even kidnapped and brought to Detroit. The great Daniel Boone was even one of those. And we see a picture of him on the next page. The picture in the corner is George Rogers Clark. He was part of the War for Independence or the Revolutionary War. He led a group of American soldiers against the British. They had to make a long march through winter, through swamps and wetland. Daniel Boone, who we see in the picture to the right, was captured by Indians in Kentucky. They brought him to Detroit to show him off, to show that they had captured someone important. Daniel Boone was a famous pioneer and explorer, and the Native Americans were very proud of catching him. Americans take action. Subheading. These attacks must be stopped. A young American soldier named George Rogers Clark headed west with 127 men. That's the picture we saw on the other page. The group marched all the way from Virginia. The American soldiers captured a British fort in Ohio and one in Indiana. The Americans now blocked the way from Detroit to Kentucky. Clark and his soldiers were heroes. George Rogers Clark planned to capture Detroit too. That did not happen. There was a shortage of supplies, and the American soldiers stayed in Ohio instead. That is the state that is directly south of Michigan. The British kept Detroit, but they lost much of their power in the area. Clark and his soldiers had done an important job. Their work helped to make Michigan a part of the United States. The War for Independence lasted until 1783. Then the colonies were free. Each colony became a state in the new United States of America. The British are sore losers. Subheading. But wait, the British did not leave Michigan. They stayed in their forts. They traded for furs with the Native American tribes. What's going on here, boys and girls? The Americans won the war. They told those British soldiers to get out. Go back home to England. Something's going on. They gave guns to some tribes so they could attack more American settlers. Hey, this was not fair. Michigan did not belong to the British any longer. The Americans who lived in Michigan became fed up. Finally, President Washington sent General Anthony Wayne west with many soldiers. It was his job to kick out the British. He also had to control the tribes who caused trouble. In 1794, there was a huge battle near Toledo, Ohio. General Wayne defeated the British and Indians there. The tribes made peace treaties with the United States. Michigan joins the United States. 2 years later, the British left Michigan. In 1796, Michigan was really a part of the United States. The forts at Detroit and Mackinac Island were now filled with American soldiers. They stayed on alert because the British were not far away. Canada still belonged to the British, and the enemy was just across the Detroit River. So if you go down to downtown Detroit, or if you've ever gone to Belle Isle, the country right across from that is Canada, and it is still owned by the British. They are governed by the Queen, not by the President. General Wayne leaves his name behind. General Wayne kept his headquarters in Detroit for about 4 years. Then he left to go back home. Sadly, he died on the trip. People were proud of General Wayne and what his soldiers had done. Wayne County is named after the general. Today, that county has more people than any other in Michigan. And we see his very important picture there. General Wayne County is named after him, and that is the county that you live in, that our school, Taubeda Elementary, is in. Detroit is in the city of Wayne County. Hamtramck is in the city of Wayne County. Let's turn the page. A new era, a new chapter. The French had been here for 140 years. They were the first settlers to trade with the Native Americans. Remember way back when in our social studies lessons and how important the French explorers and traders were to the Native Americans. They traded guns for furs, blankets for furs, copper pots, cooking utensils for furs. So now the British were in charge from 1760 to 1796, only for 36 years. How long has Michigan been part of the United States? Well, when the United States took over Michigan, big changes began. For a long time, Michigan had been the land of Native American tribes and European soldiers. Michigan had very few settlers and few farms or towns. Soon, all of these things would change. Michigan would start to grow in a hurry. Remember, boys and girls, although we now have the new United States, we do not have Michigan as a state. It is still a territory, and we'll learn more about that in our next chapter. Please listen to this again, and then go into your questions. Try to do your very best, answering complete sentences,